Efficiency.
Efficiency podcast number 7. Hey, thanks all for joining us. This is Wade, efficiencybook.com, here to help you make your life more simple and be effective while doing it. So we'll jump in. We talk a lot about the 7 dimensions of wellness. That's, for me, a huge avenue to create and diagnose issues or even things that are going well in our lives to maximize where we're at with our health. Our health isn't just one thing. It's not just, well, I feel good, I'm eating well, I'm exercising. It's a culmination of a lot of different aspects. In my mind, and science has shown this, there's different schools out there. There's between 5 to 12 dimensions of wellness, depending on where you look. So the one that I wanted to talk about today, being able to improve your life with just a simple and effective tip to diagnose where you're at, see where you're at, define where you want to be, and also define where you don't want to be. That way we can see if we're making progress in the right direction or the wrong direction. The right and wrong direction for most people, it's going to look different. But the whole concept of being able to take a snapshot of where you're at, zoom in like a map and realize, hey, I want to go north, but really I'm actually going south right now. So maybe I need to make a U-turn. Maybe I'm only off one degree from my target. On a long enough timeline, if you guys are familiar with air travel, if you're flying in a jet or if you're in the ocean, long enough timeline, if you're 1 degree off from your destination, that 1 degree over a long enough distance will actually get you to turn completely around. So 1 degree off, it's not the end of the world if it's a short distance. 1 degree off over the long term, if we're looking at our life, if our life goal is to be exactly on target and we end up being 1 degree off from where we want to be, that's not a problem. But over 80 years, however old you end up living, that could be a huge problem in life. So being able to pinpoint where you're at, where you want to go, and where you don't want to go. I like to use a lot of broad analysis and all that fun stuff, but at some point we do have to get to the nitty-gritty and fine-tune our path. So this episode is going to be on spirituality. Spirituality is going to look different for everybody. As far as this goes, it's probably the toughest topic to talk about. If you want to be uncomfortable, maybe it's the easiest, but for me, this topic is very tough because it's a combination of a couple different elements. So if we're religious, we're going to talk about, well, that's just my relationship with God. That's just my relationship with a higher power. If you're looking into, maybe there is a higher power out there. Maybe it's the universe. Maybe it's a specific deity out there. For other people, they don't believe in God. For other people, this is just that feeling or that thought that there's something bigger out there than us. Maybe it's community, maybe it's politics, but there's a entity out there that's bigger than us, and just being able to have a good relationship with that. So if you're religious, it's a little bit easier to define sometimes because religion, we're going to talk about God. If we're from a Christian mindset, we're going to talk about Jesus. Maybe we'll talk about the Trinity. How does our relationship with the Trinity look? If we're agnostic, atheist, maybe we don't believe in God at all. Maybe we believe there's a higher power, but it's not necessarily defined. Maybe it's just the universe. Maybe there's some sort of force out there. Maybe we're in the Matrix. Maybe we're living in the Matrix and there's computers or aliens. Whatever that looks like for you, there's no right or wrong. It's just what's efficient for you to believe and what's inefficient to believe. So if we're working towards efficiency in our life in the spiritual realm, that's the topic we're going to talk about today. So this topic, it's definitely one that I've struggled with personally. I was raised in a Christian home. We went to church every weekend. I played competitive baseball growing up. So after a while, that church life began to dwindle. And, our church became being out on the baseball field. It was being out in nature. It changed from going to a building and going to a place to going somewhere else where it becomes a relationship. So the kind of thing that I want to differentiate from is there's a difference between religion and there's a difference between relationship. So when we're talking spirituality, I know there's been a lot of abuse within the church system, within different religions, and that could just be society in general. There's good people, bad people. I'm not going to talk about that and say one religion or one belief system is better than another. Again, it's all about you and what you believe. Is that efficient for you? Is that inefficient for you? I'm a big believer in freedom, the individual and group freedom. So do what you want, just don't interfere with my beliefs. And I'm going to do what I want as long as I'm not interfering with your beliefs. And there's some gray areas, obviously, of crossing lines, but what that looks like in a perfect world with freedom as the main concept in life, you're going to be able to live peacefully with everybody. Again, there's going to be those fine-tuned areas, but accepting others for what they believe, whether you agree with them or not. If you're looking to convert people to your religion, that's why I'm saying this is about spirituality, not about religion, not about, a higher purpose of converting to a different religion or recruiting to a different religion. What I'm talking about is your relationship with that higher power. If it's God, Jesus, Muhammad, the universe, some people believe in, the flying spaghetti machine, something like that. So religion is going to be different. Relationship with God is going to be different. Those are different sections. So we're going to talk about what does it look like for you and your relationship. Again, relationship, not religion, and how that dimension of wellness is being fulfilled or not fulfilled in your life. So having a higher power, sometimes people think it's being able to have faith, being able to have something to look forward to, something to believe in. So if a relationship with the universe, how is your karma? Are you doing more good in this world than bad? Are you going to be rewarded when you die? Are you going to heaven? Are you going to hell? Those can be aspects. Again, depending on your belief system, it's going to look different. So we want to talk about specifically for you. So these are questions that if you're looking to improve this dimension of wellness, again, 7 dimensions of wellness, spirituality, how's your spiritual health? How does that look? Do you feel like you've got a good connection with the earth, with society, within a community? So this is where we break down the spiritual side of things. I think it combines a lot of different aspects of life, maybe even all of the other 6 dimensions of wellness. So your physical health, people can pray, people can meditate, people can hope, people can wish. They're all looking for something. If we've got a relative or a loved one that's sick, we're going to have good thoughts. We're going to have positive thoughts. We're going to pray. We're going to be intentional. We're going to meditate. So it's being able to have a relationship with something greater than us and something that we're hoping for. When it comes down to the physical side of things, spiritual relationships, spiritual wellness relates to the physical side, but also relates to the mental side. Maybe we're in a meeting, maybe we're doing something that we need to perform well. So maybe we pray, maybe we have an intention, maybe we set a mantra before ourselves. Whatever that looks like, how is your relationship? What is the effectiveness of your relationship? Are you fulfilled spiritually right now? So it's, again, that definition of where am I currently? If I'm Google Maps, click the locate me now and narrow that GPS in on your life. Are you in a good place? Do you have peace? Do you have abundance? Spirituality can't really be defined as one specific thing because, again, there's many aspects. I was working with a client the other day and we related spirituality, the way to fulfill that between 2 human beings is an intimate relationship. So we're talking about the relational side of wellness. We're talking about the physical side of wellness joined together. And if you're Christian, this could be the act of being married, joining together husband and wife. You're sharing an experience in the most intimate way. So that can be defined as sexuality. That can be defined as really whatever you want it to look like. But as the Christians are going to view it, it's, husband and wife. If you're a different viewpoint than that, again, I'm not saying right or wrong, whatever. wherever you're at, that's for you to choose, that you've got that own personal freedom to define what's most beneficial and efficient for you. So if that's a same-sex couple, jumping into the nitty-gritty of whatever that looks like, are you fulfilled not just on the relationship side, not just on the physical side, emotional side, but is there a higher component? And for some people, spirituality, maybe and again, that's why there's different definitions of, 5 dimensions of wellness, 12 dimensions of wellness. But the point is, there's a spiritual aspect, in my opinion, that can't be ignored. It might be more important or less important depending on how you define your views, but that relationship. So defining where you're at currently with your spiritual relationship. Where don't you want to be? For Christians, that's easier to define. Again, I was raised in a Christian home, so Christians, they want to go to heaven. So you are here, you're on earth. You want to go to heaven. You don't want to go to hell. That's pretty clear cut. But then it's the how. How do you get there? How do you get that relationship? Again, different religions, it's going to look different. But with the Christian viewpoint, it's having a relationship with God, for me at least. It's being in touch with the Holy Spirit. So if there's a higher power out there, I want to tap into it. I want to be energized by something that's supernatural. So Christians believe that that's Jesus Christ. He died on the cross. The point of that was to give his power to each of us. That's why we're little Christians, little Christ followers is I believe, couldn't tell if it's Greek or whatever, but one of those languages, if you look it up, Christ follower or little Christ is what Christian, the word is meant to be defined as. So if we have the power of Jesus Christ, looking at the biblical sense, that's being able to heal people. It's the fruits of the Spirit. It's being able to express love. It's being able to have peace, abundance, all of those things. So does your life have those fruits of the Spirit? If you're in a Eastern religion, if we're looking at our karma, do we have good karma? Are we receiving gifts? And there's a lot of similarities between different religions, but again, that aspect of the relationship between you and whatever higher power is out there, how is that relationship? How can you make it better? And so as a life coach, I'm never going to give answers to people of, well, you should be doing this. Well, that's wrong. I think, again, working along the lines of freedom, that's for the person to choose. Again, your beliefs, it's something within your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. If that manifests into something good or evil, again, some people believe that killing people is okay. If you look at the headhunters in Africa, they're out there literally killing people and collecting heads. There's other religions that say, well, nope, killing people's pretty bad. There's other viewpoints in the world that says that that's a negative thing. So being able to stereotype one way or another, it's very difficult without expanding your horizons. For me, growing up, it was, Christian home, that was it. Anything else was evil. I've begun to realize it's about a relationship with God. For me, it's a relationship with Jesus Christ. But as far as saying somebody else is right or wrong, I think the higher power could be God in general. But then different ways of worship, all of that, how is your spiritual component? Do you have something to look forward to? Do you have a good relationship with your Creator? There's a viewpoint that I've heard recently. It's, again, similar to the Matrix. We're divinely programmed. Maybe we're a computer program, and our whole purpose in life is to figure out how to benefit others. So what's your relationship with whoever designed that computer program? If it's evolution, the Big Bang Theory, where did we come from? What's our purpose in life? This is where I think the greatest flow of energy, motivation, inspiration can come, is having a good relationship, good spiritual wellness. So if we're talking about our spiritual gifts, if we're talking our God-given talents, if we're talking our purpose in life, are you able to define your purpose? Is your purpose in life gratifying and fulfilling to a higher power? Are you creating a legacy that can be passed on to generations? This is probably the deepest topic we'll cover in the 7 dimensions of wellness, but spirituality is not just a relationship with people around you, it's the relationship with you and the universe. It's your relationship within community. It could be the relationship in your church. But being able to define, pinpoint where you are, where you want to be, and where you don't want to be. And then being able to set goals around that. So if your goal is to be a leader in your church, specifically, what does that look like? Can you measure? Are you taking a leadership role? Are you actively achieving that goal? Success, by my definition, is being able to set a goal and achieve that goal. Using the SMART goal format, are you obtaining what you set out to? Is it realistic? Can you put a timeline on it? So this is a broad question from the aspect of a life coach. It's asking yourselves these questions, because deep down, if it's a belief in God and God's written on your heart, or it's, your spirit, your soul is communicating with you, what's it saying? Are you fulfilling your purpose? Are you feeling that reward of something that is maybe promised in the future? If it's going to heaven, is it having an impact? That can relate to legacy goals, but being able to harness that energy, whatever a spiritual relationship looks like for you, are you able to harness that and use it for motivation? Again, there's Wiccans out there. There's people that worship the devil. Their relationship might look different than a Christian worldview. It might be opposite. But either way, they share a commonality of belief in a higher power. They're going to do certain things. What's your relationship with that? Are you being rewarded for what you're doing? Do you have your efforts? Are they being seen? Is it a higher power that's fulfilling? The spiritual aspect for me is, am I fulfilled? Is the work that I do, if I'm going to my 9-to-5 day job, is that fulfilling? You'll see a lot of people, the statistics out there are very high. The last I saw in a recent study, I believe it was over 80% of people are not fulfilled with their job. For me, it's a viewpoint. It's all about perspective. You can do any work. You can be at the post office, be a mailman. If your higher purpose is serving others and you can serve them through the work, if it's delivering mail, that higher purpose can be fulfilled. So sometimes, I would again say, if over 80% of Americans are not fulfilled in their job, why are we working? Can we change jobs? And sometimes that's the answer. Absolutely. It's not fulfilling to God, my relationship in the spiritual world, that higher power. Being able to find fulfillment comes from something deeper, something greater than ourselves. If we're looking to raise kids and have them make an impact on future generation, that's a legacy goal. So the culmination of health is, what do you leave behind after you die? Now again, if you're not religious, you still might have goals out there. You still might feel compelled to raise your children a certain way. You still might believe a certain belief. Whether that's tied to a religion, to a God, there's still those feelings of some sort of higher power, some sort of purpose that needs to be fulfilled. Have you been able to define your purpose? If you look at our last podcast, genius, what's your genius? What's your creative genius? If you're a fish and you're meant to swim, are you swimming? And it takes a lot of intention, whether that's thoughts, actions, writing it down, praying, seeking counsel from mentors and trusted friends. There's a multitude of different ways that you can define what your purpose is. And usually purpose reflects passion, and passion reflects purpose. So being able to tie goals, there's 4 ways that I tie my goals in my life. The first is myself. Is it improving myself? This can relate to the 7 dimensions of wellness, but I want to be self-oriented. Again, it's the analogy of if you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask comes down, but you try to put it on your child or your neighbor, whoever's next to you, but you end up passing out because you didn't take care of yourself first, you can't help anybody. But if you reach for that oxygen mask, secure it to yourself first, and then secure it to those that have already passed out, how much more good can you do? How much more benefit or value can you do in the world by filling yourself up first, by taking care of yourself? Now, there's a difference between self-care and selfishness, but being able to define what's going to benefit you so you can benefit others or reach your goals. Sure, there's times you're going to say no to others to take care of yourself. But if your mindset is self-care rather than being selfish. Again, 100% of your intention is just to benefit yourself. Again, if we're in the airline situation, the plane's going down, I put the oxygen mask on myself so I can help others. That becomes a selfless act. You can't help others if you can't take care of yourself. So we'll talk about that more with a leadership podcast. But as far as this current subject, spirituality, how is your relationship looking? Are you able to define that? So being able to ask yourself those questions to create a relationship with that higher power, something that's fulfilling. So the second aspect of goal setting for me, talking about setting goals for myself so I can help others. The next is mission oriented. So for me, mission is, and you'll see this, Mormons actually go out on a mission. That's what it's called for them. It's their spiritual journey to lead them to the next stage in life. So mission oriented. For me, this is my life purpose. What is my God-given mission? What is why am I on this earth? So goals that relate to mission. What does that look like? So being able to tie goals to yourself, also to your mission, and then there's your passions. Your passions are in there, very similar to your mission, but this one might be a little bit different. So if my God-given mission is to help more people than I hurt, to help people grow and achieve their goals, if that's my mission, my passion is going to be seen by, well, is that fulfilled? Is that rewarding? Again, your mission, if you're a soldier, that's what you must do. It's not how you feel about doing it. It's what you must do. That's your calling in life. If you don't do it, there may or may not be consequences. If we're talking spiritual realm, Christians specifically, if you don't fulfill your mission, are you going to heaven? If you don't fulfill your mission of believing in Jesus Christ, accepting Him as your Lord and Savior, are you going to heaven? If that's the mission of a Christian, if it's getting other people to join your religion, if it's making a lot of money, that could be your mission. But then your passion, what are you passionate about? What energizes you? And usually mission, passion itself can very well overlap. These aren't just straight levels. These could be those Venn diagrams of, some of these circles overlap. So what does your mission and passion look like? Your passion, again, could be playing golf. Maybe I'm passionate about helping others, but being able to tie my passion with my mission, that will help you get more successful. Being able to tie, the fourth way that I tie goals together is relationships. So is this benefiting myself? Is it benefiting my God-given mission? Is it benefiting my passions and those around me? And part of those around me is my relationships. That could be friends, family, coworkers, clients, any other person outside of myself. How are my goals affecting those people? So for me, spirituality, having a good relationship in the spiritual world, it's defined by, am I fulfilling something from all four of those: self, mission, passion, and relationships? That's what religion or relationships and spirituality, if I have healthy spiritual relationship with a higher power, I'm fulfilling something in all four of those categories. So to check this out more in depth, efficiencybook.com. How's your spiritual health? What can you do to improve it? Where don't you want to be? Feel free to like us on Facebook. Share this with somebody that you might find that will benefit or value this podcast. Give us a 5-star ranking while you're at it. And definitely check us out, efficiencybook.com, to get more clarity in your life, to improve where you're at, to help you have a game plan to go where you want to go. Jump on our website, efficiencybook.com, book a free coaching session, 15 minutes of my time to help guide you, be a mirror in your life, ask you those questions to help you unlock your purpose and passion, and a game plan to be spiritually fulfilled and well in the 7 dimensions of wellness. This is Wade with Efficiency. Take care.
Efficiency.